Rare isn't the only, we're talking about, when we mention Rare, we kind of talk about gaming companies that don't exist in the same space as they used to. Rare was really, really great. And then they fell on tough times. Nintendo didn't want to buy them out. They got bought out by Microsoft. They became a Microsoft-dedicated third-party publisher. At the same time, the founding guys of Rare decided to leave the company after they got all the money from Microsoft. And then Rare is pretty much relegated to remaking old games they put out before and making Kinect games. Does a Kinect even exist anymore?
Nope.
But
the Kinect barely existed when it was out.
Yeah. I mean, there has not been a mention about a Kinect game since, I think, 2013.
But the reason why I bring that up is that it's very similar to another situation that happened earlier this week. On the 29th, had its board of directors meeting where at the end of it, they had very much, everybody says that they narrowly escaped being forcibly taken over by Vivendi Universal. The situation of the matter is this. Vivendi Universal, who used to be partnered up with Activision before Activision did their illegal mumbo-jumbo and dumped a lot of fucking money to buy back all of their shares and still keep Blizzard in the interim. How Bobby Kotick did it, I don't fucking know. It was like some sort of legal voodoo. But Ubisoft isn't exactly in that same position, and Vivendi has bought up over 20% of stock to be able to earn themselves a commanding position in their board of directors. Well, at the end of the meeting where they went ahead and handled everything on the 29th, they had walked away with still having their the two owning family members, the brothers, the Guillermo brothers. They were still the president and commanding CEOs of the board, and Vivendi didn't inject any of their own members into the executive board, so they weren't able to sit there and start exerting executive control over the company, thus starting a process where they would really be able to leverage things to go ahead and take over Ubisoft. Now, the reason why this kind of strikes a chord with me, I'm really not big on corporate finances and other things, but I was working at Activision, not as a temp, but as an actual ATVI employee at the time when they merged with Activision Blizzard, who Blizzard, by the way, was owned by Vivendi Universal back in the winter of 2007. I remember that they announced it out, that they had done the merger. People were logging in during the Christmas break into their email to sit there and check to see, okay, I can't remember if I'm coming back this Thursday on the 3rd or the 5th or whatnot after Christmas break. Let me go ahead and log in. The only thing that they saw when they logged into the corporate website was a splash page that says, Activision is now Activision Blizzard. Suffice it to say, when everybody started coming back to work, we had a lot of fucking questions. So I could just imagine how these Ubisoft people are thinking right now. They probably have a lot on their mind, and they probably have a lot on their plates, and they're probably worrying, is my position going to become redundant? And it's not just the people who are like in QA and engineering and stuff like that. I can bet you dollars to donuts, the people in that CEO, that executive board meeting, they were sweating fucking bullets. All right, because all of a sudden they had the suits from Vivendi right there in the same fucking room saying, yes, we own part of this shit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, guys? I find it intriguing myself. I want to go ahead and see what your thoughts are.
I can't even.
With Ubisoft, it used to be such a great company. It used to be dependable games that were good. For example, it's okay to have an IP that really took off and to milk it, but it gets to a point where you make an IP for basically what I'm saying is Assassin's Creed. They put out Assassin's Creed on a yearly basis, and it really went to crap, with Assassin's Creed Unity. They put out half-ass games, and then the Splinter Cell video game it started really getting crap. So for me, I personally think that Ubisoft needs a breath of fresh air, whether it's a hostile takeover or one of those takeovers that, okay, I own 20% of your company, so I deserve to put somebody in the executive positions and start pulling a little bit more weight and have a little bit more say-so in things and maybe change the direction of the company. Because right now, Ubisoft, I really think that they need a breath of fresh air in there, new perspective, a different perspective. And because in recent times, Ubisoft has been putting out crap games. But I've been fortunate enough to actually be part of an agency that haven't had a takeover or a buyout. So I don't know how that feels. But I can only assume, that for those people that are in those situations, that every day you look in your locker and if you see a pink slip, you know what I mean? I mean, I can only imagine that, every day you go to work, I don't know if I'm going to have a job the next day. How am I going to tell the wife when I get home, hey, I got laid off from such and such? So I have really no input to say about that. But like I said, as a gamer standpoint, I really think Ubisoft needs to put more people, or somebody needs to come in there and clean house and breathe a different fresh air into the company, and maybe they could put out some better games, and they could be what they once were. That's just my opinion.
I find it interesting that you think a breath of fresh air equates to a hostile takeover and
it's not really,
possible layoff of hundreds of people. But
no.
I understand what you're saying.
No, I mean, I don't. There's a difference between hostile takeover and one of those takeovers. Well, I guess, yeah. I'm not going to sugarcoat that shit. And you know what? Since the last couple games that they put out has been shit, I don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I know that there's people that work there and they rely on their job, but, I mean, come on. We need some change.
Yeah. What about you, Theme? What sort of breath of fresh air can you suggest?
I don't think there is any at this point. I mean, you have this situation going on with Ubisoft. Do you actually think that this is going to improve the situation as far as them bringing out great games? Or is it to basically be the beginning of the end?
That's the thing, the thing with Ubisoft is that, like Grey Mouse was saying, is that they've had certain IPs, and the reason why the IPs came to the fore and were actually good and acclaimed and commercially well received was because they let them cook long enough and develop long enough to go ahead and actually come out.
Right.
Then they tried, over the last few years, they've been trying to do the EA and Activision thing where let's go ahead and recycle this and have it come out on a yearly basis. It doesn't work that way, especially not with – it's one thing if all you're doing is you're running around and you're trying to shoot people in the fucking head, okay? But if you're trying to go ahead and have this deep interactive experience that involves exploration, involves interacting with other people and NPCs and everything, it takes a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
So that really doesn't work out, whether it be Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell or that they put out.
Tom Clancy.
Yeah, the what is it? Fucking geez, I'm gonna remember it later.
Division.
Yeah, the Division. It was kind of rushed. It didn't have the real good polish that you were expecting, or Watch Dogs, the first Watch Dogs. It didn't have the real good amount of polish, and that kind of also bleeds over to their way that they handle PC games in general. Because Uplay has been a piece of shit from the very fucking beginning, where people sit there, they're playing these fucking games. If they sit there and they hook up to Uplay and they're wondering whether or not their save data is going to be there, that's the whole reason why I haven't picked up a lot of games for the PC from Ubisoft is because it's connected to Uplay. And every time I see that it's connected to Uplay, and I look through the community comments and they say my shit has disappeared, my only response is fuck that shit. I'll be right here.
Maybe I sounded a little harsh, but Ubisoft, whether they get taken over or not, there needs to be a change. There does. I mean, Ubisoft used to be synonymous with a good game, especially the Tom Clancy's. The Splinter Cells were some of the best espionage. I mean, they were neck and neck with Metal Gear. It's just that type of level of games that they were. And in recent times, the Splinter Cells just fell off. And people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those deals where it's kind of funny, this whole thing with Ubisoft and Vivendi. Like I've said in multiple videos, the biggest problem that we have with the video is the fact that it's a creative process being controlled by bean counters.
Yep.
Okay, these are guys who sit up in these corporate offices in these high towers, way above the people who work underneath them, and they're really, really connected. But this type of thing is one of those types of things that really shakes things up. Theme, you've been quiet for the last few minutes.
Yeah, this is sad.
I know.
The only thing okay, wait. Because, of course, I have no idea. I mean, where is this going to lead to? Is this going to be lead for them to come out with better games or even more games, or to just do less with gaming and go to a different fucking direction like pachinko machines?
I don't think that French company is going to be doing pachinko machines.
They could. Why not? They could probably just market them, and then next thing you know, they'll be popular. And
I know Vivendi has been bringing back a lot of their old classic titles to go ahead and re-release on Steam. I don't think they're going to be doing pachinko machines. As far as what they're going to do with Ubisoft, like you guys said, your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know.
That's what the potential worry is, as far as saying, okay, is there going to be a shake-up, or is this going to be a hostile takeover and then just get rid of Ubisoft?
Well, a lot of the financial analysis
So we start seeing a whole bunch of Assassin's Creed bundles, then we know that they're on their way out.
We've already seen that. That exists already.
Yeah. A lot of the financial analysts who went ahead and looked at this, a lot of them said that even though they pretty much escaped being being under the thumb of Vivendi Universal over the last board meeting, a lot of them are predicting that in the next few months, the next board meeting that comes out, by that time, Vivendi Universal is probably going to increase market share or their ownership share of stock from 20% to 30%. And then, unless Ubisoft does something really, really drastic to go ahead and change the dynamic of where they stand in the market, they're probably going to still be taken over by Vivendi.
So are they going to keep Ubisoft name, or is it going to become a different company altogether?
What they'll probably happen is that they'll probably keep the Ubisoft name and the brand and title and everything else, because that carries its own value. Just like when Vivendi Universal went ahead and merged with Activision back in 2008, Activision Blizzard.
It'll be a slash thing, yeah. As long as it's not Ubisoft / EA.
Well, I mean, so is the CEO of like you said, the French company, are the CEO and the brothers, are they going to just say, okay, we'll accept $2 billion or whatever our company's worth and golden parachute out?
No, what'll happen is that they'll do what they can to go ahead and still sit there and stay in that executive office, because as long as they are attached to the executives on that board, they're still going to be making their own bonuses and everything else off of whatever the company does. Now, whether or not they're privy to whatever else Vivendi Universal has is a different question altogether. But they're going to want to probably stay as long as they possibly can.
Well,
now, if it comes to the point where they do start buying things out above, the thing is, in France, you can't own more than 30% of the commanding stock of a company, so they're limited by that. But the problem is that when you get 30%, that means that, hey, look, if you want to put somebody in the fucking executive board, on those chief executive officers, you can put somebody there. There is no vote. There is no question. You can fucking insert somebody in there, and that's probably what they're thinking is going to happen sooner or later.
See, I didn't know that in the French economy or whatever because usually in America, right, Microsoft has done this. They took 10%, they took 20%, 30%, 40%, and as it get more and more, almost to a point to where they own 60, 70, 80% of the company. And then, so the main company, the parent company does this number, and then the hostile company, so to speak, removes everybody from that. I mean, if you got 80% of the company already, you can do pretty much what you want with that company. I mean, because the parent company can't do anything about it with such small shares.
Yeah, because the shares are too small.
Yep.
And they have no hearsay of the situation. That it's too late.
I didn't know that on the French side of things that they get only a hostile takeover is only 30% of the company.
Because Vivendi itself is they're located out of France. I believe Ubisoft is actually located out of Canada. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, as far as it goes, there's still some steps. The problem is that they can already insert somebody onto their board at 20%. It's just at this time they were like, okay, we're just going to let them see what they do. Maybe they're going to sit there and let them be autonomous for a little while. But most likely, almost everybody who's looked at the situation said they're going to keep on increasing the amount of shares that they own. And when it comes down to it, once they hit 30%, they're going to insert somebody in there forcefully. And then that's when they're going to start actually overtly exerting control over the company by having somebody in there. And the truth of the matter is that Vivendi Universal, they have very, very deep pockets. And Ubisoft as a whole, as just a dedicated software company, does not have deep pockets.
They're bleeding. Bleeding.
So they're kind of ripe for the picking right now.
So who is it again? What's the company's name again?
Vivendi Universal.
What do they do?
They own Universal Media, like Universal Music. They're also commanding share of Universal Movies.
So, in other words, what I'm getting at is another company that not have anything to do with gaming is going to insert itself into the gaming industry again.
No, they've been part of the gaming industry for a long time. They got a hold of Sierra Interactive a long time ago, back in the 90s.
And what have they put out in the recent times?
They have not put out things under Vivendi in the recent times, but they were the ones who owned Blizzard before Activision took them. Yeah. So they have very deep pockets. In fact, one of the reasons why Activision wanted to go ahead and merger with them was at the time Activision was riding the wave of Guitar Hero, and they wanted free access to all of the Universal Music titles and Universal artists under their command and their publish. And that's what they went for. That shit died out, and in 2013, like I said, Bobby Kotick, I don't know what the fuck he did, but he was able to buy back all the fucking shares. And not only was he able to separate Activision from Vivendi Universal, but he took Blizzard along with it.
Yeah.
How the fuck he did that, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is that Blizzard is coming off of another great expansion off World of Warcraft. I mean, Legions, I've been hearing nothing but great. That it actually re-innovated that World of Warcraft. I mean, that's another game that's been around forever.
Not just WoW, but Overwatch has taken over all the competitive first-person shooters. Nothing can hold the fucking candle to it right now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I just wish that Ubisoft would put out good games again, and not these half-ass games like Assassin's Creed Unity, and Division and stuff like that. I mean, we said it all the time as gamers and on this channel that all we want to do is just play good games. We just want to have good games. Just give us good games and we'll buy your stuff. Just simple as that.
I mean, I want to see them finally come out with Beyond Good and Evil 2, because they've been dropping hints of that.
That would be great. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, we're really gonna. This is might seem a little bit outside of the wheelhouse of the middle-aged guys, but like I said, I've experienced firsthand what it's like to go through a merger. When Activision went ahead and did the whole Activision Blizzard thing and all of that, you know, they told everybody that everything was going to be fine. 2 days later, I was being laid off. I was being walked out off the property. You know, and this is one of the type of things that kind of home for me. And you know, I know the other guys, the other middle-aged guys from on this video, they can probably relate. If they can't relate directly, they probably know somebody who can relate directly. You know, with that, we're gonna wrap this particular video up. Thank you so much for sticking with us all the way to the end of this video. Like I say at the end of every video, if you're so kind, hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave us a comment below, especially if you think we've missed something or maybe you have a different point of view. We're the middle-aged guys, and we bullshit about nothing. Our bullshit ends here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Great Mouse One.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Merging and damn it, and taking over, and just make good games if you can. That's all we ask for.
Yep.
Please stay a gaming company. Don't branch out to any garbage. Please, Ubisoft. Stop with the Assassin's Creeds every year, too. Please. Credits.
Just make good games. I don't care if you're Vivendi Universal. I don't care if you're Activision. I don't care if you're Ubisoft. I don't even care if you're EA or fucking Konami. Give us good fucking games.
You make good games, we will buy.
What's left to say?